Children, have you ever met the bogeyman before? No, of course you haven't, for you're much too good, I'm sure. Don't you be afraid of him if he should visit you. He's a great big coward, so I'll tell you what to do. Here comes the bogeyman. Don't let him come too close to you. He'll catch you if he can. Just pretend that you're a crocodile, and you will find that bogeyman will run away a mile.
Welcome back to Call of Cthulhu. We're going to dive right back into this, get back to where we started. Just a quick recap. They're currently investigating into Sandra Bailey. John and Nicholas have headed to the Speakeasy to see if they can get their way in there. And everybody else is heading towards the university to see what they can find. So, getting back into it. You two have decided to head off and go get something to eat while you wait for the Speakeasy to officially open. Again, you have about an hour to kill, so whatever you want to do in that meantime. If there's anything specifically, let me know. Otherwise, feel free to talk amongst yourselves. However, I would ask Joe if you can head down there to not interrupt the audio when everybody else is talking. So, everybody else was going to the university. You managed to get to the car without anything happening, anything out of the ordinary. Everything's good. You make your way to the university and do what?
I'm just gonna look for. I just want to make a listen check to see if anyone drops her name, Sandra Bailey.
Well, these hours,
just around the campus.
Yeah.
These hours, Royce. The only people here would probably be the maintenance staff and janitorials.
And
right.
any of the sports teams, you know for a fact that the baseball team is
baseball
practicing.
Team still, they're still practicing.
As well
They're
as
doing well.
as
Go
well
Pods.
as the, I want to say the rugby team would also be practicing at this time. Unfortunately, I don't remember normal odd sports seasons, but
I think rugby's fun. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then never mind. I guess I'm not gonna do shit.
Like you can. There are still students wandering about the campus. There's a lot of students that have on-campus housing, so there are still people about. It's still September, so it's not too cold out. So there's still some people that are meeting outside, going over things from class. So it's possible that you could hear something, but there's
I'm just
not
gonna
a lot
grab
of...
them then. I'll just be like, and I'll ask them if they have seen Sandra Bailey in a while.
Okay. There are 4 distinct groups of people that you can notice, unless you're trying to pick out single individuals. In which case,
I have no idea who Sandra Bailey is, so I have no idea how to, determine what clique she belonged to.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, there are basically 4 groups, and then there's a couple of people that are basically by themselves, sitting underneath a tree, just going through some books. Of the groups, one of them looks like a group of sports people. In addition to going over stuff from class, you see them throwing a football back and forth. One of the groups looks a little bit more studious. They've got a series of books laid out. They've got some stuff sitting on top of some papers on the ground, and they're going over some debates back and forth. There is a group of people that are sitting down. It doesn't look like they're so much as going over schoolwork as they are talking about what their plans are for the coming weekend.
Okay.
And the last group of people is honestly a little odd. They're not dressed as conservatively as most people here. I mean, honestly, it looks
kids.
They don't exist yet.
1920s
No.
flappers.
They do look like they are the kind of people that you would find at a speakeasy. Chances are good that they're probably just killing time until they're heading out to the speakeasy later this evening.
I'll go talk to the group that's looks like they're planning their weekend,
Okay.
and I'll say, "Hey, have you guys heard anything about Sandra Bailey lately?"
Sandra? Who wants to know about Sandra?
Well,
Who are you?
I'm nobody. You didn't see me.
What? Okay. That's weird.
Do any of you know Sandra Bailey?
Yeah, but...
When was
Who are you?
Okay, I'm just gonna walk away.
Do you have a smoke bomb in your inventory?
No, but I have spaghetti in my fanny pack, so I'll just spill that, and I'll
Are you with him?
No, I'm by myself.
Not directly, no.
Anybody who is listening, the conversation has changed from weekend plans to who was that guy? Who was that not
Professor
masked man?
I will hide somewhere.
Okay.
Now that Josh is
Crouching.
thoroughly
I
loaded.
failed the hide check, but I want.
He's behind that tree looking at it. It's weird.
Crouch in the middle of the lumberjack, just with a leaf in front of your face.
Oh,
Well, I mean, now that they're thinking about not only how weird that guy was, but maybe Sandra Bailey, I want to see if I can listen to them, see if they change the subject to her, and talk about her.
Most of what you're going to pick up is why would he be asking about Sandra? It's like, has anybody seen her around recently? I haven't seen her since Saturday night, and that's generally the story. And then the speculation: well, what if that guy did something to her? What if he's looking for her? Like,
I'm gonna go
why
talk
would
to the
he be
kids that
doing
are
That's-
going to the speakeasy then, and I'll say, "Hello, fellow kids," and
How old
I'll
are
sling
you?
my skateboard over my shoulder.
Oh, God.
That hasn't been invented yet.
Yeah,
Marty McFly has not come back.
Marty McFly's gone
You
that,
got
that
a
far back.
skateboard, and you also do not look like a kid.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 28. I could be an aging. Flunk,
No.
He could be a grad student.
You
This is
look
college.
old
You're-
to
yeah.
them.
It can be anything.
Except the kid.
Yeah.
Just
You're like-
Except one of them.
You're like Tom Cruise. You're
You
trying
could
to
have
look young.
pretended-
You're almost at that. You're almost.
You could
at
have at
that
least
apex.
pretended to be a
Do you
professor.
have, do you have
However,
sunglasses in your inventory?
I don't think so.
Don't recall sunglasses. Where I think I gave him a fedora.
I
Yeah,
don't
I'll
have.
do
I
it.
don't have a fedora.
No,
You'll sneak in any
somebody
college.
does. I gave somebody.
I
a fedora.
of course do.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody had a fedora. I knew it.
You can't
Professor
be a
Jones
professor
over here.
without a fedora.
Yeah, you have a fedora. Come on.
I forgot to give somebody a Stetson. Yeah, well.
All right, fuck it then. I'll just meet up with the professor later.
Okay.
I don't have any sort of like gathering information skills apparently.
Not
Well,
big on espionage, are you?
You could use.
I have really good disguise and hide checks, but I can't roll.
You
well.
could use fast talk to try and fast talk somebody into giving you information without them realizing what you're actually asking for.
Tell me where Sandra is.
Yeah, it's
That doesn't
it's
work.
far less blunt than that.
How
It's a
about
lot-
that?
it's a lot more-
How
it's
about
a
this
lot more
weather we're having?
roundabout.
Where's Sandra?
Swear it to me.
Yeah. Also, technically, you can use credit rating. Credit rating is how credible you appear to people. Like,
I got a
do you
terrible
look like
credit.
somebody who they would want to talk to? It also takes into account like your current social standing, like how general society views you.
I'm a negative somewhere, I'm sure.
Well, it's the credit rating. Starts at default 15.
Yeah.
Is what I'm sitting at.
I
Your
have
credit
that
rating
too.
is.
So
Now you're the town kidnapper.
yeah.
Oh.
1920s pedophile.
And you're new in town, too. So
Yeah,
it's
way to
great.
go.
Yeah.
You're outsider.
I'd also accept a persuade roll if somebody wanted to try that.
Right. I don't even know what to ask because I know what happened to Sandra.
The question really becomes
Who she was
Who
hanging
she
out
was
with.
I'll tell
like,
you what. Can you make an idea roll?
I doubt it. What's idea?
Idea should be in the
Okay.
top right. It's one of your characteristics. I need you to roll under that.
Yep.
Okay.
What's up
Here's what you do know about Sandra. Sandra was a student at Miskatonic. The only other part of information that you had was the shoe that you found was an expensive-looking shoe. Also, it was something that people would not be wearing around school. It's something that would likely be worn by a group of people that were going out for a weekend.
So the people I totally fucking freaked out.
Unfortunately, yes. The people that you freaked out would be the most likely
Right.
group to talk to get information. However, that doesn't mean that you can't look for other people that might fit that bill.
Come back with a mustache.
They'll never
And
know.
a monocle.
Well, if you're good at disguise,
No, I'll come back with my fucking gun pulled and just be like,
Oh, that won't.
"Show me where she is."
They probably didn't
I'm
even
gonna-
notice she was missing until you said
Yeah.
something.
You did pick that up from the conversation, so they didn't know she was missing. So you might have been able to get some general information about her, like who she was, what she did, but you might be able to convince somebody else to go over there. But it's still going to look suspicious for two people to come up and ask about Sandra.
Yeah, one's wearing a mustache and one
Yeah.
isn't.
Even if you asked one of the other, like even like the professor or Janikolova to go over there and ask, like it would still be weird that two completely different people would come up and ask about Sandra, like within an hour from
Yeah,
each
I
other.
mean, I could come up with a plausible excuse why I want to know where
I'm
she
gonna
is.
go. I'll
but
go over to the,
it's
the kids that
still
are.
weird
conspicuous,
now.
yeah.
I'll go over to the kids that are planning on going to the speakeasy later.
Okay.
And ask them if they know where I can find Sandra Bailey. I'm her older brother visiting, and I haven't seen her in the past 2 days. I was supposed to meet her on campus yesterday. She never showed up.
All right. I'm gonna need you to try and make a credit rating roll.
I fucking made it. I rolled 12.
Woo! Skin the cat.
All right. Don't forget to check mark your skill.
Oh, that's right from last time.
Only if you make a successful roll.
No, I have some.
Okay.
You're more lighter.
Yeah, Matt. If you make a successful skill roll,
There's
a box next to it to
there
check
is.
mark.
Okay.
What happens is normally when there's a break in game over an extended period of time, you can test your skills to see if they go up at all. Basically, you roll against that skill, and if you fail that roll, your skill will actually go up,
Okay.
saying that you've learned something during the course of that investigation. Because this is a condensed timeline, I'm going to let people roll at the end of the week. So any skills that you make successfully, just make sure that you check mark. And if you want to try and find creative ways to use skills just so you can get them check marked,
All right, well,
I'm open to that.
Could I have made a check to drive auto earlier?
You could have, but you can't now.
Yeah.
Again, I can cut out.
I will head back to the car then.
Okay.
You might want to keep that.
Or actually, no, I'm talking to people.
Yeah.
Game mechanics, they should be, people want to play, they have to know how.
Oh, Sandra. Sandra normally doesn't hang out with us, but we normally see her from time to time. I think the last time we saw her was at one of the clubs in town Saturday night.
Who does she hang out with? Like, is there someone I could get in contact with to see if they've seen her around?
There's those other kids over there, but we are not part of their elitist group. Our daddies don't bring enough money, however, to hang out with them, so we're not good enough. But there were some people she was talking to. I don't know who they were. I didn't recognize them from anywhere, but she was definitely almost chummy with some people. It seemed a little out of place, but I mean.
But you can't identify these people?
Yeah, they're not anyone we've ever seen before.
Okay. Alright, well, maybe I'll see you at the bar later tonight.
Alright. If we
Toodaloo.
If we
then
hear
walk
anything
away.
about Sandra, we'll let you know, or we'll tell her that her brother's looking for her.
Sounds good.
All right.
I will then gather my spaghetti and try to locate the professor.
All right. Speaking of the professor, where did you go?
Well, I believe she had a suggestion.
Okay.
I was going to head to the student records, but
That's fine.
that's what you were going to say?
Well, I would have at least whether or not she had housing on or off campus, that if she was on campus, maybe we could get in and take a look around.
Well, she probably had enough money to be off campus. I'm not even sure if she's a freshman or upperclassman or not. Well,
That's
we can find
information
out.
we can get.
Yeah, we'll have to just head for the student records. Should be in the admin office.
Very well.
All right. So, you'll go to the administration office to take a look at the student records. You, of course, have free access to go in there and look at whatever you need to. They will, however, ask you to wait outside while he's in there. They need to make sure that nobody's messing around with any of the records who isn't authorized to do so.
Very well.
They take the education and the grading system very strictly here. But you have free record to go in. You can locate Sandra's file. It takes a little bit. The last name is spelled a little oddly, but it's still alphabetical order, so it doesn't take long to find it. What you can find out is she does have on-campus housing. She's staying at one of the on-campus places. She is here on a scholarship for... what science was it? Give me a second here. Technically, it would be chemistry.
All right, and judging by her date of birth, can I tell what year? Generally, unless there was some, scholarship, she probably would have got here right out of high school.
Yeah, so not 1907. She was around 19.
Okay. Any listing of her emergency contact information, parents or
The
relatives in
emergency
area?
contact information is her parents who live who live outside of Boston, which is a good several hours away. But that's the only emergency contact that's listed there. This was
I'll jot down information in case I have to notify.
yeah.
next
This
of kin.
was her second year here at Miskatonic. So she was not new to the area. So it would seem odd that she has not updated any of her information, but a lot of the students generally don't care about updating any emergency contact info with the friends and everything else that they make. They just assume that they'll find out if anything bad happens. Besides, why would anything bad ever happen?
Of course, it's college.
Yeah.
You go there to learn,
Not to worry about
party and-
things.
Was she a member of any extracurricular activities such as cheerleading or cheerleading? Because that's
Cheerleading.
pretty much all girls can do.
No, she was a member of the track team her freshman year, but she did not go out for track again this year. She didn't have a scholarship for it, so she didn't feel like she needed to. You're assuming. She probably did it the first year just to try and stay in shape, maybe, or maybe she had a friend who was taking track and then something happened. You know how kids are.
Right. Well, that's why I was looking to see if there's any information, any certain group of children she'd be hanging out with because of close contact.
Not that you're going to find in the student records. At least not that you're going to be able to get. Like, she wasn't a member of any. Like, they didn't have a lot of clubs or anything else back then. Like, there was a lot of people that were segregated by what classes they specialized in. Like, a lot of the chemistry students would know each other because they'd sit around and talk chemistry. The fact that she was a woman who was majoring in chemistry is a little odd. You don't see a lot of women in the sciences in this time period.
Well, that's probably a typo.
But that's how it was viewed. So it's a little odd, but it's not unheard of for women to be majoring in fields that would be outside of what people would consider their norm. And Miskatonic has been very open about treating women and men equally during the education system. Their main focus is always on teaching the children about what they're doing, not who they're teaching it to.
Yeah.
There are a couple of black students on campus that are treated just as well as
That's why we
any
get
other
into the newspapers.
Which again,
it's a big deal.
it is a big deal. But Miskatonic has been very open about being on the leading edge of trying to treat everyone equally as long as they're willing to maintain their education.
All right, I will. I'll dog ear the file just so that if I have to come back for more information, it'll be faster to get.
Okay.
And I'll go back in the hallway and discuss my findings.
Oh.
Second year student. First year she was on the track team, but she did not go out for track this year. She has a scholarship for chemistry. Her parents are listed as her
Interesting.
contact information. They live outside of Boston, and so I assume no one has contacted them. We might be the only people who know of her demise.
I think we're the only people who know she's missing. Did you notice if she had on-campus residents? I'm
Yes,
assuming.
yes, she does. She does live on campus.
Oh, let's
I have
go
that
look there.
information jotted down here in my handy-dandy notebook.
Right, let's go there.
Good idea. Glad
Maybe
I
there's
found
some more information we can glean from her room.
it.
She does have a roommate that you would have found in the file. She's currently rooming with a Claire Townsend.
Claire. Miss Townsend. Okay. Oh, of course we'll knock.
Moving across the campus, you will catch sight of Alex in case she's wanted to regroup,
Probably. a good
or
plan.
if you want to try and avoid them, by all means, you are free to attempt to avoid them.
I will wave
Oh,
my walking
I'll
stick.
approach him. Hey, I found out she frequents the speakeasies in town. She hangs out with the richer crowd, and I've pretty much made enemies with them at this point. Not enemies, but they're pretty weirded out by me. Oops. What'd you guys find?
Well, like, everything we found out. We're actually heading to her room now. See if there's any information.
I'm not gonna follow you there, just in case any of the crowd sees me there, because they probably suspect me of weird shit now. So
Well,
I'm gonna
what
go
story
wait.
did you get then?
I'm gonna go wait by the car.
Okay.
There is no car.
I have a
No,
car.
there's
we
a
have the
car.
car.
No, we
gotta
have
get the
the
car
we have
back.
the car, yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's nothing weird about
so
Professor
now-
visiting his young female students.
So now, to make sure that
after hours, as
That
long
might
as
be
I'm
a
being
little weird.
as long as I'm being escorted by another lady.
I just want to make it clear that everybody understands that in order to make it not look weird, that Alex is going to the room of the person that he made a horrible display of asking about to other people. He's now going to go sit in his car staring at the people who are sitting on the campus and wait for you.
No, I'm gonna.
that seems perfectly normal.
No, I'm just gonna. Well, that would look
For a
worse.
serial
Never mind.
killer.
You should just go to the speakeasy.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna. Well, they. You guys have a ride? Or are you just gonna take a taxi to Speakeasy? Because I'm just gonna go meet up with Joe, and I'll let you guys know. I'm gonna go meet up with the drunk and the loudmouth.
Where?
The Speakeasy.
Where's that?
Nick and Dolan.
There's a hot dog stand in town. Go behind it.
Okay. You were talking to the people.
I have no idea how I know this information.
You know too much.
Does anybody remember the address?
It was
211 Main Street.
214.
214 East Main
East
Street.
I was in the ballpark.
Wrong side of town. You would have found it eventually.
It's too bad this ballpark is the size of a town.
I will make a drive check.
You just wanted to make the drive check.
Well, yeah. Nope.
Nope.
How much did you fail by?
50.
Oh my god!
So, heading back into town because Miss Miskatonic is outside of the city, but not terribly far. However, there is a small accident on the way there. There was a deer that happened to jump out in front of you because it's September. That kind of stuff happens. You did clip it. There's not any appreciable damage done to the car, but it does look like the headlight on the passenger side is completely busted.
Great. Now I
And-
have blood stains on my car,
Not your car.
and the person I was asking about is missing.
And the
Do you know when this is driving with you?
the deer looks to get about maybe 10 feet off of
You're
the
an
road and then
excellent
collapses,
story right
but you
now.
hear a lot of sounds coming from it.
Pulitzer mofo.
X-ray, read all about it.
Alright, I'm just gonna
Alex
keep
was
heading in
creepy
town.
murdering.
All right.
You could have gotten your gunshot
and
checked.
just
Shot the deer.
let that
Yeah.
deer fucking
Sit there in pain. You
and
bastard.
die.
Hey,
Okay,
he fucked up not even my car. Now I'm gonna be responsible for this.
it's true.
I mean, I could have just shot it and then just strapped it to the roof or something and been like, hey, this is where the
No,
blood
you take
came
it off
from.
to the. You shoot it and then you take it off to the side of the road, like any
It at
decent
least
folk.
got off the road.
It did. It
Oh, it got off the
got
road?
10 it got about 10 feet off of the road and then
Yeah.
collapsed.
It's off the road. It's not my problem anymore. I'll let nature take its course.
Wow.
Wow.
From what I read in the papers, there's apparently a lot of wild dog attacks.
Sure, that was a
Moving
deer.
on.
So,
I'm not drunk. Are you?
Maybe.
the two of you were going to Sandra's room.
Yes.
Yes.
You'll knock at the door, I'm assuming. Or are you just going to try and
I
barge
will,
in?
I will knock with my walking stick
All right.
at the professional distance of 2.5 feet from the door.
Easily reachable with your walking stick. You will hear a voice from inside the room say, one second. Maybe 10, 15 seconds later, the door will open. There is a not unattractive woman there. Blonde, looks to be right around her late teens, early 20s. Answers the door, relatively conservatively dressed, all things considered. And she's like, is there something I can help you with?
Yes, I am Professor Carlton. I'm your roommate, Sandra's history teacher.
Oh, okay.
And this is Samantha Kolova. She is helping me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, ma'am.
Maybe come in.
I suppose so. She'll
After you?
step aside. Allow you to come into the room. The room is fairly well maintained. A lot of college rooms you might expect to be a little messy nowadays, but back then they took a little bit more care of things. But even with that in mind, this looks like it's been maintained better than your average room would be. You've seen a few of the student rooms when you've had to go looking for them for not showing up for class for several weeks. But
It just has no Miskatonic hoodies thrown all over the place and
no,
and half-eaten Italian pies.
correct. There's none of that. It's very well maintained. Not spotless, but it looks like it's cleaned on a fairly regular basis. If you're looking for Sandra, she hasn't been back since this weekend. I don't know. Maybe it's possible she's staying at a friend's place. It's not unknown to happen, but I haven't seen her.
She has not been to class since last week.
Huh.
And yes, it's only Tuesday, but I do expect my students to come to class on time and ready to go on a regular basis.
I understand, Professor. I was starting to get worried because I haven't seen her yet, but it's not unusual for her to miss her Monday classes after a long weekend, but normally that doesn't go into Tuesday, and normally she would have at least sent word back that she was going to be staying somewhere else. But I haven't gotten any messages about her.
Where would she normally be staying? Does she have a young fellow that she's been courting, or is she with another one of her girlfriends? Do you know where she was? Or
I don't know where she was. On the weekend she likes to head into town. I'm assuming I'm not going to get in trouble for saying this, am I?
No.
no, please be candid.
All right. I know she likes to attend to some of the speakeasies in town. I know she's underage, but they don't generally ask for any ID or anything.
Well,
so.
it's also illegal to be drinking in the first place, so age really is secondary to that.
I mean, I never go to any of the speakeasies. That's why I haven't seen her since then. I normally stay here. I might go into town just to do a little shopping on the weekends, but once the weekends hit, I generally don't see Sandra again until the next Monday, and then we catch up with what's going on.
Well, that is good. Keep your nose in books and away from young boys. They're nothing but trouble.
Of course, Professor.
Why don't you go look around her room? It would be unseemly for one of my gender to go through her private things.
Don't need to mention it.
All right.
And her underpants and those things.
And we will save the actual investigation into Sandra's room until next episode, so tune in next time, and we'll see if we can continue trucking this along.
Keep on trucking.
Good night.
If I were a deep one, blah 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 blah. All day long I'd swim beneath the sea. If I were a deep one, terrify the tourists. Blah 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 blah. If I were a nicky icky fish, scaly slippery frog-eyed kind of man, I'd